Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help. And King of Floors, your vinyl, laminate, and engineered flooring superstore.
Donnie and Dolly, presented by Able Auctions and King of Floors. All of our guests today, meanwhile, are sponsored by Skipper Auto, supporting Canadian fishing families through a revolutionary seafood buying experience. Check them out online at skipperauto.com. Looking forward to this, Rick. Rick Nash, Columbus Blue Jackets, new director of player development. Rick is the Jackets' all-time leader in pretty much every offensive category. Games played, goals, assists, points. Spent 9 years with the Jackets, 15 total NHL seasons. Two-time Canadian Olympic gold medalist, including the gold he won here in Vancouver in 2010. And Rick joins us now. Rick, thanks so much for doing this. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Very well. We certainly remember what happened here in 2010. What are your strongest memories of the 2010 Winter Games in Vancouver?
Yeah, well, it's one of the fondest memories I have in my hockey career. The one thing that sticks out is just the sour taste that was in our mouth after Torino, and having a terrible finish there, and then coming back to our home country in Vancouver and having all the pressure and all the stuff that comes along with being a Canadian hockey player and playing for your country, and just the memories of winning gold in your home country. I don't know if anything can ever top that.
Rick, have you ever played on a team that played as well as, and the gold medal game was fabulous, but have you ever played on a team that played as well as you and the rest of Team Canada did in your quarterfinal win over Russia, 7-3 final?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. And, it's living in Columbus now. It's everyone always talks about the U.S. game. And I always try to correct them and say there was actually a better game in that Olympics, and it was the quarterfinals against Russia. I mean, just the history that Canada-Russia has. And, losing the way we did in the Olympics prior to that, it honestly, for me, it was the loudest that the Canucks Arena ever was for that tournament. I mean, the overtime U.S. game was great, but I'm telling you, there was something about that Canada-Russia game where everything just went our way, and it was honestly one of the best hockey games that I've been part of.
Yeah, and it was a do-or-die situation. Okay, moving on. Rick, what can you tell us about your new role as Director of Player Development for the Blue Jackets?
Yeah, so I'm taking over this process. Obviously, it's a big step in my career off the ice, and it's a big time right now for the Jackets. We have a big draft coming up. We have 9 picks as of right now, and it's an important job where me and my team, and with the support of our hockey ops group, has to figure out the best way and how to make these prospects NHL players. And that goes with sharing experiences, setting out a roadmap for them to achieve their goals, and it's an important part, and I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Hey, Rick, it looks like the Sedin twins are going to be announced in Vancouver tomorrow as a part of the management group here in Vancouver. You were in Columbus last week. Talk about when your career's over, you got 2 options. You can retire and just, it's been playing hockey for many years is a grind on your body, or you can get into management. Talk about some of the reasons why you got into management.
Yeah, I was always interested in how how to build a team, especially in this cap world that we live in. What goes into it. I was also interested on the business side of a sports franchise. It's exciting, I'm sure, for those 2 legends of the Canucks to be part of it. I kind of dug around once I retired and talked to different GMs and different coaches, and tried to figure out what I wanted to do. And, the message from them was all the same, was whatever you're going to do, you have to be 100% in. It's not something where you can come to the office for a cup of coffee once a week and, talk hockey. It's something where you have to be involved and you have to be ready to work. It's not an easy job. And as a player, you don't realize how much goes into the front office until you're living it.
Hey, Rick, you talk about prospects these days. I don't know if you had academies back when your mom and dad put you in academies when you were. Now these kids have so much education, so much opportunity to be on the ice at a young age. When you look at young prospects for the draft, are you seeing anything different now than you saw kids coming through the ranks when you were coming up the ranks?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We didn't really have the academies. You had your club team, and you played for them all season, and you had your practices, and then summer hit, and you might play a little summer hockey. But I always played lacrosse and some baseball and soccer. So I feel like now it's kind of a one sport athlete, and these kids coming in the league now have a stick handling coach, a skating coach. Someone to work with them full time off the ice. So it is a bit different. And you know what? You have to adapt with the times. I mean, these kids don't want to sit down with you and hear about how it was in the old days or, old hockey stories. So you have to adapt and you have to be able to relate to them. I think as I call around the league and call my former teammates and talk to Chris Clark here, who handle our hockey development, it seems like the biggest thing is building relationships with these kids where they can trust you and they can buy into wanting to be on the same, the same avenue as they vision to get them to the NHL.
Rick, how hard is it as a director of player development or anybody involved in player development? We understand Derek Dorsett's going to be helping you out as well. But how hard is it to convince kids these days or in any era to do something you were very good at, and that's the defensive side of the game for a forward?
Yeah, what's funny. It's a great question because we still have that conversation with our players that are NHLers, and it's up to the player to buy into the defensive side of the game and to understand that they're going to get so many more chances offensively if they know how to play on the D side of the puck and know how to check. And when people say know how to check, it's not throwing huge hits like a Tom Wilson or a Ryan Reeves or these guys. It's how to be in the right position and put your body in the right position and how to check. And it's such a big part, and it's a huge part in development to get these guys to understand that might be playing in the WHL or the OHL, and they're used in a offensive role, and that's it. When you get to this next level, you have to know how to play on both sides of the puck.
Hey, Rick, and we're talking with Rick Nash, Director of Player Development for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Changing subjects just a bit, what can you tell us about a member of your team that left your organization to join the Canucks, and that is new Canucks assistant Brad Shaw? What can you tell us about him?
Well, he's one of the smartest men in hockey. He's a great person. I've gotten to know him a little bit over the last 2 seasons that I jumped back on with the Jackets. You're always prepared. It's obviously a loss for us, a gain for you guys. He's one of the most respected coaches, assistant coach, whatever you want to call it, in the game. And talk about a brilliant hockey mind. He jumps up there in my books big time.
Hey, Rick, you went back to Columbus. Derek Dorsett went back to Columbus. I heard Dorsett on Sportsnet 650 this morning raving about the city, just loves it there. But what about these players that have been asking to get out, Rick, in the last few years? Panarin, Bobrovsky, Duchesne, Luc Dubois, Seth Jones. Does that concern you when these players are always wanting to get out, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely concerning. There's no question there, and we're working internally on how we can fix that. And I think a bit of it falls into development too. Once these kids get drafted here and they come in for their first rookie camp or conditioning camp, you got to make sure that these kids fall in love with this city the way me and Derek did. So we're trying to work on things and getting people to buy into the culture here in the city and the community. But it's definitely up for concern, and each player, their individual, kind of outlook on their career is different, and you got to take that into consideration. But I think it's something that we can even tackle from the development side and the early side, right when we draft them.
Hey, Rick, before we let you go, what's standing out for you when you watch these Stanley Cup playoffs?
Oh, you know what? This is a tough time of year for former players or
Mm-hmm.
retired players. I think you miss that emotion, you miss the competitiveness. For me, I miss the rush of scoring a goal, coming out of the tunnel with the lights off and the towels waving. I mean, you just can't simulate that stuff unless you're in it. So the hockey's been incredible, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's a tough time to watch because you miss it and you want to be out there so bad, but it's still fun to watch as an employee or a fan of the game.
Rick, all the best with your new job. Say hi to Derek Dorsett for us. Thanks so much for this. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys. You guys take care.
You bet.